But you can follow Jesus as a teacher, as a salesperson, as a nurse, as a business owner, as a full-time parent. You can follow Jesus where you are. The thing is to follow Jesus right where you are and to make him the focal point of your life, to live for him. Good? We're going to cover these three things over the next few weeks. I want to give you three things very quickly about this invitation that Jesus gives us to come and follow him. Number one, his invitation for us to become an apprentice is to become an apprentice, not a Christian. There's a big difference here. Guess how many times the word Christian is used in the Bible? Once is good, that's pretty close. 3 times. 3 times, that's it. 3 times the word Christian. So, it's kind of a weird thing that we call ourselves Christians from a word that's used only 3 times. Guess how many times the word disciple is used? A lot. Almost 270 times. 270 times. What's the difference? And I think I can kind of compare it to this. For most people in the United States, in our culture today, to be a Christian means that we believe the basic idea of a religion called Christianity. We go to church once in a while. It's more of a consumer mindset. Feed me, give me this, right? So as a Christian, we're a semi-moral person, and it's more really about Jesus following us, to give me a pick-me-up in the morning before school or work, or to maybe answer a prayer or two, or to help us out. We're just constantly consuming Jesus, and it's really more about what we get from Jesus than to what we can give to Jesus and really following him and being his apprentice. That's kind of where Christianity is today in the United States. That's what a Christian is. As you read the Gospels, especially the book of Mark, you're going to notice 2 groups of people who follow Jesus. You've got the disciples and you've got the crowds. All right? Now, the disciples, they were more than just the 12, right? The 12 were just a subgroup of the disciples called apostles. And apostle just means sent ones. They were sent out to do something for work. So Jesus, he had a lot of disciples, hundreds, maybe thousands of disciples, get this, made up of both men and women. That was unheard of in that day. Jesus was way ahead of the curve, inviting women to be a part of this movement that would change the world. Jesus elevated women all the time, right? So this is amazing. But this sharp divide between disciples and crowds, especially that Mark uses, it's a literary device, and it's kind of his way of asking us, which group are you in? Are you a face in the crowd? Or are you a disciple of Jesus? We're asking the same piercing question today. Are you a Christian? Saying, feed me, give me, let me consume, let me get what I can out of this, and when I'm done, that'll be it, right? Or are you a disciple of Jesus that is a lifelong commitment that requires denial of self and sacrificing things? Which one are you? Jesus isn't looking for converts to Christianity. He is looking for apprentices to the kingdom of God. I hope you're open to that invitation. Number 2, his invitation to become apprentice is open to anybody. Anybody. I want you to hear this morning. Anybody can accept this invitation. We read in Mark 8:34, which is the memory verse for this week. If anyone wants to follow after me. Now it comes with some requirements, doesn't it? But he says anyone. Anyone means anyone. Anyone means you. Anyone means me. We're there. I mentioned earlier that discipleship in Jesus' day was for the best of the best of the best students. It wasn't for everybody. It was limited to a select few. So for Jesus to come along and invite anyone to follow him, that was unheard of. It'd be like a professor from Harvard going on social media and saying, hey, if anyone wants to come to Harvard on a full ride scholarship, DM me and we'll take care of it. That's not going to happen. But with Jesus, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what you've done. It doesn't matter how smart you are, or if you have the work ethic or the drive to succeed. It doesn't matter if you've got your act together or not. You are invited to follow Jesus. Isn't that good news? You're invited to follow Jesus. Number 3, to become an apprentice, Jesus' invitation is not about trying, it's about training. It's not about trying, it's about training. I'm going to tread on thin ice here, I think, but let's say, try not to look at anybody, let's say you're overweight and you're out of shape, but for whatever reason, you decide tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and run a marathon. Well, let's be serious. Do you wake up tomorrow morning and head out the door and run 26.2 miles? No way, right? But what if you tried really hard? What if you tried really, really, really hard? What would happen? You would die. Your body's not ready to run that far. You would die. We would die. It would just not happen, right? So how do you run a marathon? It takes training. Not trying. You wake up tomorrow morning and say, okay, I'm going to train for this marathon. I might run a mile. Some of you are like, man, you better make it a quarter mile. You might make it like a 100-yard dash. But you start with short distances, right? And you add to it. Maybe every week or every other week, you add another mile. And after 8, 9, 10, 12 months of training, what happens? You're able to go from 1 mile to 10 miles to 26.2 miles. But here's the deal. You know, running a marathon is still going to be difficult. But guess what? You can do it because you've trained for it. You've trained for it. If you want to experience the life that Jesus promises, he says, I will give you life to the what? Full. I'll give you life to the full. If you want to really experience that, not just at church on Sunday mornings, but through every moment of every day that you're awake and asleep, whatever, if you want to become like Jesus and you want God to transform your world inside out, then you've got to practice the ways of Jesus. And not alone. We're going to be talking a lot about community. How do I do this in a community of believers? We've got to be doing this together, okay? So I want to wrap this up. I want to reiterate something I've already said, and that is everyone is invited to this. Everyone is invited to this. Maybe you grew up in the church and you've been around for 10, 20, 30 years, and maybe this morning you just realized, man, I'm just a classic example of a Christian. I have consumed, I've taken, I've gotten everything out that I can get out of this. And you're just waking up realizing, say, man, I'm not a disciple. I'm not an apprentice of Jesus. Maybe you realized that this morning, and guess what? You're invited. You're invited right here, right now, right today. Maybe some of you have hit a wall in your discipleship with Jesus. You're up against it. You're like, I don't know what else to do. Or maybe you're not at the core level yet because Jesus needs to go and hit those deep places within your life. And so maybe it's time to slow down a little bit and reorient your life around the ways of Jesus and to step into his community and discover what Jesus needs you to be and to do. You are invited. Or maybe today you're like, man, this is all brand new to me. I don't know where to start. We can help you with that. You're invited. Because, man, life with God is unbelievable and following Jesus is so beautiful. It's not going to be easy, but, man, it is beneficial and it will change your life. Please accept the invitation.